We're back again. One more week. I got a blue tongue. I was chewing on some Big League Chew blue
They
raspberry.
still make Big League Chew.
Oh yeah, only certain places have it.
Oh my God. What kind of certain special places have Big
We
League
went
Chew?
to the biggest candy store in Minnesota. It's like
Oh,
this big long
okay.
barn, not barn, but
Yep.
yellow building, and they just had
Uh-huh.
like every single candy you could think of.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
That sounds real good.
so I got some of that, and I was chewing on some this morning. All right, we got week 6.
Do it.
NFL, we got some professional football teams that are going to play some other professional
Mhm.
football teams again this week. So
Some
tonight,
semi-professional teams playing
yeah,
professional teams.
semi-professional talent and
Mhm.
execution,
Mhm.
but
Leadership, coaching, the whole schmear, really.
disguised as
Mhm.
professional. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
That's
what
a
we're,
rating.
that's what we're working on.
Mm.
Okay, tonight it's Thursday already. We got the Broncos at the Chiefs. So I have Chiefs by 12.
Yep, we're tied here. I got the same.
Exactly. All
Yes,
right.
sir. 12. This just feels like an ass whooping in progress. So what's going to happen is the Chiefs are going to lose by something like 42.
The Chiefs are going to lose by 40.
Yeah, because we're saying it's. I said it was going to be an ass whooping, and the Chiefs are going to. But now, because I've said that and I put that out there, now the Chiefs are going to lose.
But yeah, if you just say ass whooping, it can go either way, and you were right.
That's fair. If I had not qualified it with Chiefs,
Yeah. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're both pretty close. It opened at 10 and it is 10. Or sorry, 10 and a half.
Yeah.
Opened at 10 and a half is 10 and a half.
Yeah.
Some people are, I'm sure, saying, well, why is that not at least 2 touchdowns? I get that. It's a division game, I think is why you go a little bit lower. And beyond that, I don't really know.
I think people are criticizing the receiving corps
Of the Chiefs?
Yeah, that there isn't after Kelsey, there isn't anyone else.
Well, they never throw it to him. They don't know if they can. Kadarius Toney caught a couple balls.
Yeah.
So I was at the Vikings Chiefs game, if you
right.
remember. And Kelsey didn't really do much, and then he hurt his ankle and he was out, and I was like, oh, this we might have a chance. And then he came back in and ended up like catching 10 balls or something like that.
He's very good.
Yeah. And
Very
then
good.
the Vikings just kind of competed and never really had a great chance of winning the game. It was just kind of one of those. But it was cool to be at US Bank Stadium to take in the game, although it was probably 60-40 Vikings to Chiefs fans. There's way too much red in there.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't realize Chiefs fans traveled that well.
I don't know. I think like there's people sitting next to us and someone asked them like, oh, did you come from Kansas City? And no, they're just Minnesota, like young Minnesota kids who just like the bandwagon.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Bandwagon business. I don't know. So, I mean, there was probably some of both. I'm sure the Chiefs don't play the Vikings very often. So it's kind of maybe like a bucket list thing. If you hadn't been to US Bank yet, get there and see a game. I think I saw that the Vikings were the last team from Mahomes to beat, except for the Chiefs. So he's beaten every franchise now, except for his own.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's been like a handful of quarterbacks who've beaten every franchise because they've played multiple years for multiple teams, whatnot. But
did Brady ever beat the Patriots as a Buck?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I think they did. Yes, I think they did play head to head his first season.
What do you mean? Everyone beats the Patriots these days.
This year, yeah, they're not great.
We'll get to that later. Okay, so we tie, obviously. Yes. That is, let's get this in here. Tie. Well, maybe we'll do like, how many games are there this week? 15? We'll do 15 ties this week. How about that?
We're not going to do that.
What are the odds?
Yeah, we've already lost because we have a different line on the next game.
Okay, so that's the game tonight. Maybe a dud, but sometimes these short prep weeks, who knows? You don't really know what you're going to get.
That's right.
So tune in later tonight. All right. Okay, so we have, I believe this is another London game. So we've got Ravens and Titans in London, pretty sure. 8:30 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. So I went with Ravens by 3.5.
And I've got Ravens by 5.
All right. So it opened at 4, and it's pretty
4.
much 4 most places. So
Yeah.
you had I had 3.5. You have 5. Okay, so I get that one barely, even though it's 4.5 some places. So we kind of pretty much split that in a way. But since there has to be a winner, I declare myself. Okay. Um, I don't know. I'm trying. So I guess these a few days ago, and I'm almost questioning myself. Like, I'm gonna get my phone out. I gotta see. I almost thought I went lower than that. Like, did I mix something up here? Oh, I put it in my spreadsheet wrong. I'm glad I looked at that. So that was not my guess. You get this one.
Oh.
I was a pick'em. I'm glad my memory is not escaping me yet. So I went pick'em. It's a neutral site. Like, are the Ravens that much better than the Titans at this point? So the Ravens were favored more heavily than I thought they should be at the Steelers last week, and they were in control most of the game. But then they did what the Ravens do, and they, pissed it down their leg.
Yep.
But I don't know. I guess Vegas still thinks that they're better than I do, and
it's got to be the quarterback, right?
4. Yeah.
I mean, Lamar is better than Tannehill, and it's not a question. It doesn't feel like it's close, and maybe that's it. Neutral site quarterback gets the nod.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something that I clearly don't understand. I don't know what else to say about that. I was wrong, so whatever I say is not.
Seems weird coming off the loss that they had. I know it's early in the season, but to have that big of a differential, and also maybe this is saying something about the Titans too, right? So they're clearly a team on the decline, clearly a team that is needing to recast its future, right? They don't have the quarterback right now. The defense isn't what it once was, and the running game that has been their hallmark is not as strong. So I think they've got the coach, but there are question marks everywhere else with the Titans.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's probably some stat where the Ravens haven't lost to the Titans by or whatever.
Maybe they've never lost a London game or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something in London or who knows. And then that's kind of driving the line. But
maybe the Titans are Vrabel never played in London. Harbaugh's been doing this a long time.
Yeah, it could be it. Mm-hmm. Do your research, because clearly we have not.
We're breaking it down here, right? Giving you the straight dope, man.
All right, let's move on here. So we have the Panthers at the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Panthers are 0-5. Dolphins are 4-1. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is going to be a high spread. I went 14, 2 touchdowns.
So did I. Yep, 14 Dolphins. Yeah, this seemed just like a no-brainer.
I think it opened at that. It might be down a little bit from there. Let me see. Opened at 13.5, I guess, and it is still 13.5. So obviously we tie that anyway, since we had the same thing.
I just feel like the Panthers they're clearly the worst team right now. I mean, that may shift over the course of the season, but to this point, they're not great.
They seem like obviously they're bad. They're 0-5, but they're like trying. Like their defense is okay, and they hadn't been making mistakes, although they turned it over at least twice in their own territory in the first half, and just it was never really close after that. I felt they had a chance to stay close to the Lions, but like I said, when you turn it over in your own territory twice in the first half, and then you're playing against the Lions, who play really physical and just kind of don't give you anything, good luck. And I think it ended up like 42-24 or something like that. So we both were very close on this one. The one thing about the Dolphins, obviously everyone's seeing all these points scored and everyone's saying the Dolphins are one of the best teams in the league. I looked at who they've actually played, and I've mentioned this before. So their wins this year are at the Chargers. Okay, that's a pretty good win.
Middling team, yeah.
They beat the Broncos. They beat the Patriots.
Oh.
And they just beat the Giants.
All terrible teams.
Yeah, those. So the Chargers are probably a top 10 or top 15 team. The rest of those teams are bottom 10 easily.
3 wins. Is that right? For those groups, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the so they play
Patriots, Broncos, Giants.
So that's
yeah,
1 win each.
Yeah, 1 win each. So
not great teams. And then they lost they got spanked by Buffalo.
Right. So all I'm saying is everything's relative. If you just go by record and you're like, oh yeah, these guys are great. They scored 70 points one week. That's not the only way to look at it.
It's true, but they're playing the worst team this week, so
true.
This trend will likely continue at least through Sunday.
Yeah. What's with you? Go do your research. Look at who everyone's played and tell me if
you don't research.
If you feel like everyone's kind of gotten a fair shake. And I know there's like no solution to it, but it just seems the way things play out. Some teams have a very easy road to like a 9-8, and other teams are like, good luck. Like if you're a mediocre team, good luck making a run at the playoffs because your schedule is just bonkers. It's bonkers.
Bad.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
So the Saints play at the Texans. So the Saints just beat the Patriots by 162, and the Patriots lost by 161 the week before.
Yeah.
So obviously, take your pick whether the Patriots played really bad or the Saints played really good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, usually it's just a combination of both. But okay, Saints at Texans. I have Texans by 1.5.
And I actually went the other way. I went the Saints by giving up 2.5.
Saints minus 2.5. I have Texans 1.5. I think you're closer if I remember right. It is. It opened at Saints 2, and it's down to 1.5 is the most consistent line. So Josh is off a point. I'm off by 3 points. What did I say? It opened at 2 and came down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
that
it's
makes sense.
Opened close to what Josh picked and came
Trending
closer to what I had. So I guess it's a fair line. Like if you have two teams that are fairly equal and it's 3 points either way, it's kind of like, pick who you want. Pick your winner.
This is CJ Stroud love too. I think the groundswell of support for him as an excellent quarterback is just growing every week. Yeah. I think this is a bit of a response to that too. He just looks confident, 6 games into his career, 5 games into his career.
Right. It'll be a good test too, because you can't watch a Saints game without the commentators talking about how good their defense is. And
Dennis Allen, defensive coach.
CJ Stroud, he's a good rookie, but can he beat the good defense? I don't know.
Defense.
Okay, so like I said, pick your winner there. It's
close. Should be a good game.
A 1.5. Yeah.
If I could watch it, I would.
Here's one thing: Saints coming off a big win. When you come off a big win, you kind of think everything is going to work well. Texans coming off a tough last-second field goal loss to the Falcons. Maybe a little bit more, let's get back on track. Let's get a win. They're playing at home, so something to look at there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Washington Football Commanders against the Atlanta Football Falcons in Atlanta. I have the Falcons by 2 points.
And I have the Falcons giving 4. So Washington feels like a franchise with the wheels about to come off.
Okay, so it opened at 2. It is 2.5. So it opened right at what I guessed, and it's moving towards what Josh has. So I'm closer. So I'm down 2-1 with a couple ties so far. Okay, so so Washington gave the Bears their first win.
Decisive victory
at Washington. Butkus passed away, and it seemed like that there was some motivation there. Like Justin Fields was just like, I'm just going to force the ball, or not force the ball, but I'm going to throw the ball down the field.
Good passes, man.
Yeah, and I'm just going to, like, DJ Moore, are you open? I'm always open.
No, but I'm going to catch it anyway.
Jamar Chase said he's always effing open.
That's right.
Anyway, DJ Moore was basically always open, and they just kept feeding it to him, and it was kind of over early.
He looks so good. They both look so good. I think that I was watching somebody on the Ringer break this down, and they were talking about how they sort of just obliterated whatever offensive scheme they had, and it was just throw it to DJ was literally the plan based on how they were scheming. And I feel like that's good for one game, but once like everybody else is gonna do triple team somebody in football, can you have like 6 of your personnel package just around one receiver on defense? So I feel like we'll see what the Bears can do. Maybe not much.
The other thing is the Bears had whatever, two healthy running backs coming into the game. Both Herbert and Roschon Johnson got hurt.
Yeah.
Herbert tried to come back in, but he tried to make one cut and his leg
right out.
Right. So he's out. So they had blazing game. Not gonna lie, I don't even know his first name. He's technically, I think, a fullback.
He's a fullback.
And he's running they're trying to run out the clock, and they got this fullback.
Lost their starting center.
Yeah, like this fullback is trudging ahead for 5 yards, and it was interesting. But I mean, he did what he needed to do. Didn't fumble.
Did he throw? He threw one pick, maybe. I know he's got 8 touchdowns and I think 1 pick in the last 2 games.
Fields.
Yeah, and it was 600 yards, which is like, I don't understand football. I mean, that's clear based on this, but like, I don't understand football when like magic. He just appears to be one of the best quarterbacks. Like, I think coming out of that game, and I know most of the other teams hadn't played yet, but I think he was leading the league in touchdowns at the time. Or he was tied, I think, because he had 11 at that point. It's nuts. It's hard to draw conclusions given the body of work to date, but that was a spectacular game.
Yeah, it really was. I was thinking I forgot to turn our cameras on, but I think we're good. I think I don't know.
No, the lights on. We're
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
So if you saw me, I don't know if it showed. Probably did. Well, I'm not sharing my screen, so it didn't show that. Me clicking around, acting all paranoid that the video wasn't on, because again, our millions of viewers need to see this.
Need to.
And we can't have mistakes. All right. So don't overreact to the Falcons. No. I know they just won, and I know Washington looked horrible, but
very bad.
Don't overreact to the Falcons. That's my take on that one. Okay. Josh is up 2-1. Let's move on. Colts. We got the Coltskis against the Jaguars. The Jaguars are not playing another London game. Only 2 in a row. That was their limit, I guess. I have the Jags by 5.5. What do you got?
I've got Jags giving 3.5.
Jags 3.5. I'm 5.5. I think you're closer. It opened at 4.5, and it's 4 most places. So you're closer. Both of us were pretty close.
Yeah.
Josh goes up 3-1. So this is I forget what they call it. This division, like there's just
NASCAR division.
Isn't it? So something about you can't predict it. Like Colts, Jags, is it Texans? Those 3 teams, like the home team doesn't win real often, or it's just like a weird series where it's hard to predict. So I went 5.5. I guess it's lower maybe for that fact or that historical fact. I'm not really sure. I guess it's between 3 and 7, or between 3 and 6.
And Richardson's on IR too.
Yeah.
Their starting quarterback just went on IR.
Right.
Colts.
So it seems like whether Minshew or Richardson has been in there, the lines are about the same as they would have been. That's what it seems like anyway. Obviously Richardson's better with his legs, but can't stay healthy. And Minshew, I guess, is at this point is probably a better passer.
I don't know, something about Minshew. And Richardson injured his shoulder too. It wasn't like a leg injury. No ankle, no knee, no hamstring. It was a shoulder injury, which looks strange.
Right. So he's on IR, so he's out at least a month. Okay, Colts at the Jags. Jags just beat the Bills in London. Pretty much kind of dominated them. Well, the Bills made a late push, but so they're looking more like people thought they were going to look this year.
Probably going to win that division. I don't think there's a question about that.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but maybe they'll be coming back talking like this.
Oh, with accents.
Yeah, and
I
it will
see.
affect. They won't be able to
Uh-huh.
play on U.S.
It'll
soil.
confuse.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if that was really an English accent or not.
It was definitely foreign, for sure.
Okay, so what? I guess it's a fair line. I don't really have a take on that game.
I mean, an interdivisional game, two teams that are one team that's coming up from the bottom and another team that's supposed to have arrived, but it has shown signs of maybe not. Yeah, it looks like this is right. You're right in the middle. I think the Vegas doesn't know either.
Yeah, I think the Jags might be coming back down in that
Yeah.
game. I think the Colts is probably the right side, but who knows?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's check out another game here.
Yep.
We got Seahawks off a bye, and we got the Bengals fresh off a victory over the Cardinals in Arizona. I have the Bengals by 4 points.
And I have the Bengals giving 3.
Okay, I think it's right in there somewhere. Okay, it opened at 2.5, and it is 3 most places. So Josh is right on. So we're instituting. If you're right on, you got to tell us how you got it.
Yep. And so just picking blankly. No. Uh, to me, this is a weird one because I've like the Seahawks are 3-1. I know I think they were off last week, so they're leading. They're not leading their division because the Niners are in their division. This is a good team. The Bengals have struggled. I know it's at home. Um, I think I just thought the Bengals would get the home field goal benefit, and that was it, given their performance. But I do like the Seahawks here, and I think the Seahawks might walk away with a win on the road coming off the bye. I just feel like the Bengals have not put this together, and the line is all about them being at home and celebrating their past success, recent past success, because historically they've been a pretty shitty franchise.
Yeah. This is another one where this game was week 1. Bengals might be close to a touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
So last week the Bengals, I was watching a highlight. The Bengals were down 14-10. I think it was maybe it was either late second quarter or early third quarter. And the Cardinals had the ball. So like they were sort of on the ropes. And then the Cardinals threw a pick six from their own like 5-yard line. And then the Bengals kind of just, I think they ended up winning by 10 or more. But they were, there was a real threat of them losing to the Cardinals. And then they kind of ended up taking care of business. So that might be the game that kind of catapults them into what they were supposed to be. Jamar Chase caught, I think, 3 touchdowns.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Very good at football.
But still, like I thought they'd give him a tick above the 3 for the Bengals. It just seems like Burrow maybe has a bigger backing than some of these other teams, and like that would influence the line. I guess not.
Popular, very popular. Like people love Joe Burrow, and rightly so. He's had really great success coming out of his rookie season and his initial knee injury.
Right. So I don't know. I guess you either think the Seahawks are for real, or you think the Bengals have kind of turned the corner and they're gonna, peel off about 6 out of 7 here and make a Super Bowl run. So the line is 3. There you have it.
Yeah.
Equal teams, apparently.
Yes.
All right, let's go to Josh's Bears are hosting my Vikings this week. Justin Jefferson his hamstring is shredded.
IRC, right?
Pulled pork, pulled chicken hamstring sandwich. Yeah, he's on the IR at least 4 weeks. So Vikings will lose 3 out of 4, and then they'll say, we're not going to get him hurt, and then he'll be out off my fantasy team, out for the rest of the year. I'll just have to weep and worry. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, I'll just get to my. So I have the Bears by 1.5. What do you got?
Well, and I went the other way. I went Vikings giving 2.5, and I don't know that I knew their star wideout was on IR when I made this. I don't know how much I care. I mean, I wish him all the best, but just in terms of guessing a line, I just feel like the Vikings are probably a better team, all things considered, like all things being equal, absent Fields' performance the last 2 weeks. I don't believe it's sustainable. So I think Vikings probably win this game. Maybe it's close, but
Yeah. So you're right. You're right on. It opened
Oh.
at 3.5 and it went down to 2.5. So Josh is exactly on. I I thought the Bears would be slightly favored, but then I was like, okay, so why are the Vikings favored? And I mean, look at what the Vikings have done. They're 1-4. Every game's been a one-score
Yeah.
game. They've had a fairly difficult schedule, but the Bears have been pretty much horrible except for one game. So there's more consistency. What was the other one?
So the Broncos game, they were up 28-7, like with
That's right.
like into the second half, and then they collapsed completely. Both the offense and the defense was completely shut down. And then Eberflus, dumbass, went for it on fourth instead of trying to keep the field goal, which would have given them the lead. And then they ran a stupid run play that started like 5 yards from behind the line of scrimmage. And of course they lost. Of course they turned it over on downs.
Just how you draw it up.
So anyway, it's also not a good coaching staff. I don't feel like it took them this long to figure out. Just throw it to Jay Moore. Like,
yeah. So I guess it makes sense why the Vikings are still
playoff team,
the better team,
better coached.
They're both not very good. It's Vikings 2.5.
Competitive in losses too. That's the other thing. The Bears and their losses outside of the Broncos game, like they haven't been competitive. The Vikings have at least kind of been in those games.
And there's another kind of theme here too, like the Bears coming off a big road win, and the Vikings coming off a loss, losing their star receiver. So the Bears maybe are coming back down to earth. The Vikings know that they need other people to step up in Jefferson's absence. I've said this before, but it seems like teams, when a star player goes down, teams play good in the short run at least. So maybe that's part of it why the Vikings are favored. All right, let's move on. We got 7 left. Josh is kicking my what. It's 5-1 so far.
Halfway to go with 2 ties.
So we have the 49ers at the Browns. Browns coming off a bye. 49ers coming off of beating everyone every week by a lot.
Looking amazing.
So I have 49ers -5.
And I've got them -6.5. Yes, 6.5.
Okay. So it opened at 5. Whoa.
It's 7 most places.
Yeah, opened at 5. There's a 5.5, but most are 7s. So we'll always go with the most consistent line. 49ers by 7. Tough luck for me. I had it right on when it opened and it moved. So Josh is going to get that one. A fair line. We've talked about this before. The Browns defense is good. They're at home, coming off a bye. Like they should be competitive with pretty much any team at home. So that's why you don't go real high. But the Niners, they're covering pretty much against everyone, crushing everyone. So it's kind of one of those probably kind of polarizing games. You either think the Browns can hang with them at home, or you think the Niners are going to blow everyone out at this point. So the line is 7.
You're betting on the Browns defense, is what you're betting on right now, because that offense hasn't put it together yet, and there's a lot of love for that Browns defense. So much love that some people think that can carry them to a Super Bowl. I'm not of that opinion at this point, but
I've lost track of what some of these teams' records are. I mean, the Browns, they had a bye, so what are they, 2-2?
2, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is Watson back? He was out before the bye, but I would guess he's probably fine by now.
He hasn't been playing very well. Like even through last season when he came back from his warranted suspension.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're not working the kinks out in the massage room anymore.
I imagine he's got to be under some pretty heavy scrutiny whenever he walks into that room, would be my guess. Got a few carefully placed personnel just
they make those Theracanes where you can just give yourself a massage. It's like this goofy, like J looking thing with all these things that where you're supposed to be able to massage everything yourself with one little it's like a cane thing. So maybe that's what he's got. Maybe he kind of turned a corner.
He deserves so much less.
All right. Okay. 6-1 with 6 left. So I need to run the table. Patriots at the Raiders. I have the Raiders by 4.5.
I've got the Raiders by 3.5. Belichick is, with anecdotally, feel like he always underperforms against coaches from his tree, which is weird because everybody else really seems to pile on them. They're not very good once they leave the fold.
Sorry, you said he performs
poorly. He
poorly
usually, I feel like he loses. Like I think he lost to Matt Patricia when they played Detroit, which is like, how do you
anybody lose to him?
Well, he was the guy who leaned into a reporter for not like sitting up straight during a press conference when he started. Show some respect for the game, and he literally shook his finger at the guy, and then he forgot to be good at coaching football. So
yeah, I'm not good at my job, but I'll tell you how bad you are at yours.
That guy was a diva.
Okay, so I said 4.5. Josh said 3.5.
Yes.
It is 3. It opened at 3 and it's steady at 3. So I don't think anyone looks at this and says, "Oh yeah, these teams are like
they're both one and whatever,
like,
right?
Equal at this point." Just because the Patriots have been so bad, like you would expect most teams to, be favorites against them. So it's 3. They're basically saying, yeah, Raiders and Patriots, they're the same.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, that looks right based on how they've played, and I mean, maybe the eye test, the Patriots look worse because their quarterback, I think, is definitively worse at this point, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Vegas has to be begging you to take the Raiders based on the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I just think the Patriots is going to be the right side, but how can you trust a team that's played so badly and says that they're going to evaluate every position, and I don't know what they're going to do. It's not like you can draft players in the middle of the season or trade everyone.
No. And you're benching your starting quarterback in the middle of games. Like you're doing that repeatedly, that you're not delivering any sort of consistency.
And I didn't pay. So message. Bailey Zappi was the backup that we couldn't think of.
That's right. Yeah. Is he still the backup?
Yeah. So apparently he didn't. I didn't really look at it that close, but apparently he didn't do much of anything either, which is why they went back to Jones. And they're like, well, if you got 2 turd sandwiches, you got to pick one of the turd sandwiches to actually play. So, that's what happened there. There's a meme. So someone got a picture of Belichick ordering at McDonald's after the game in like his suit and tie.
And it was really Belichick?
Yeah.
It wasn't an AI thing? Okay.
I mean, I assume it was really him. And the one of the quotes on one of them, there was a couple of them. One of them said that he was trying to order a better Mac. And, Mac Jones, Big Mac, he's trying to, because Mac Jones has been bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I totally get that.
Yeah. So that's Patriots and Raiders. I don't know. I think
they're both bad teams.
Let's just stop talking about that.
The better question is who's more fired at the end of the season? McDaniels? No, not McDaniels. Whatever the hell that guy's name is. No, it is McDaniels, the Raiders coach, or Belichick.
Yeah. So it's Josh McDaniels, and is it Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
We got it. We're learning the coach.
We're figuring it out. The hardest part. We've got it down.
So McDaniels, I would say for sure. Yeah, but that's the big thing about Belichick. Some people are saying, well, how can you fire him? Like ever. Other people are saying, if you just like look at what he's doing currently, he would deserve to be fired. But that's the thing. Like
Belichick would have fired himself based on this performance and how historically he's managed his team.
Yeah.
Once you're useless, you're out the door.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I don't know what Kraft is gonna do. I was driving back from Minneapolis and I was listening to Jim Rome. I found Jim Rome on talk radio, and he gets fired up and he just goes off like on a tangent. It was pretty interesting. I don't really bad story because I don't really remember a lot of the quotes, but he was off on, Belichick and how bad they've been and whatnot. Good story, bad story. All right, let's move on. Can't talk about that garbage anymore. Lions at the Bucks. Bucks off a bye. I think the Lions are 4-1 and the Bucks are 3-1. So
right, division leaders.
this is, I guess, a pretty decent game based on records.
Yeah.
I have the Bucks by 1 at home.
Give me the Lions -4, baby. I'm on board. I'm on board the Lions train. Everybody's talking about Lions as Super Bowl contenders. Let's do it. Let's see the Lions in the Super Bowl. Never been.
All
How
right.
exciting would that be?
Yeah. I mean, you got to go through the 49ers and who else in the NFC? The Eagles.
Yeah.
So
those
have
would be huge tests.
beat both of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of like good luck, but
One would think both, yeah.
there's not many other teams in the NFC that are proving that they can
That's it.
maybe do that.
Right? Like those three, that's it. Like unless you feel like the Bucks are in that, maybe they will be after this weekend, but to this point.
Yeah, it's hard without, well, I guess I do have all the teams in front of me to say who else would make a run. I mean, the Rams are a little bit of a wild card just
They are.
because Stafford's been there before,
Yeah.
McVay's been there before.
And he looks decent. Like Stafford doesn't look like his arm is falling off yet.
Right.
So
And Cup is back.
and Puka? Sorry,
Puka.
I'm not trying to be offensive. I don't. What is it? Puka
Nakua.
Nakua. That's
Yeah.
it. Yes.
I guess the other team, but I mean, the Cowboys just got blasted by the 49ers. So the Cowboys was the other team that you would say could make a run.
And there still might be in there. Like, I mean, that defense, I know they lost their best cornerback, and maybe the best cornerback, but.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just 3 really good games, 1 shitty game. Like, you can't. How do you put a run together when you're going to have to play these really good teams? Like, I just don't see the consistency there. But.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had Bucks -1. You had Lions -4. It is Lions -3. I am officially put the fork in me. I am toast. Josh Wynn, he's up 8-1 with 4 left. So I think he won on the last one. But Lions on the road, favored by 3.
Brave New World. The
I
Lions
guess I
seem good.
Get it. I'm not surprised by that. I just thought the Bucks would be slightly favored at home.
Yeah. You know what else? Sorry to interrupt. The Packers are terrible. Jordan loves garbage. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
They don't play this week, so I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, we got to talk about the teams that don't play sometimes too. But
they Packers. Oops.
I don't know what to think about them. That's another thing I was listening to on the way back was a lot of, you're driving through Wisconsin on your way from Minnesota to Illinois, and they're talking about how soft the defense was. I didn't watch much of that game, but it was low scoring. I don't know. The defense seemed to play decent. And then they were talking about how Jordan Love wasn't the problem. He was playing good enough. Well, then it kind of flip-flopped on Monday night. So
he didn't look good enough.
I don't know. I mean, it's feel our pain from, it's like, oh, yeah, we have Rodgers. He's good. We're going to be in every game because he's good. Well, now it's a little bit different, okay?
Wow.
So what are they? They're 2-3. Yeah. So, I mean, we got nothing really to talk about until our teams get to 2-3.
No, I think it's fine to dump on the Packers. No, let's go. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Celebrate their misery.
All right. All right, let's do these last 4 here. We got the Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
I have the Rams by 5.5.
I have the Rams by 5. This just feels like the Rams.
Oh, you undercut me. I don't remember what this one is.
I took $1.
It opened at 6, and it is up to 7. Yay, I got one.
Woot.
Hooray. The Rams are healthier, obviously, when you get Cooper Kupp back, and I think he made it through that game without any, tweak of the hamstring or anything like that. I mean, I thought it would be lower. It's a division game. The Cardinals have been playing everyone tougher than people thought they would this year. But the same time, the Rams at home against the Cardinals, you can't argue with 7. Just seemed to me like it should be a little lower than that.
I mean, they're great coach. Great coach. They've been there before. That feels like a surprise team that, like, on a given Sunday can just beat
The
you.
other, what did I say? Oh, it opened at 6 and went up to 7. The other part of that is James Conner just went on IR.
Yes,
So-
running back for Arizona.
They have Amari DiMercado and Keontae Ingram, if I'm saying those right, kind of running back by committee. Obviously, there's a drop off in talent, you would say, from Connor to those two. So I think that's part of it, maybe. And I'm sure there's an injury or two I'm not thinking of or isn't on my radar as well. So obviously, when these lines are off a little bit, it's those things play into that for sure. So you always want to check the injury report. Listen to who is it? Jay Glazer. Does he still do that? Who's in and who's out?
I don't know.
He's getting paid however much money to say this guy's in, this guy's out, this guy's questionable, this guy's doubtful.
You know who does that though? Google. Google does.
Oh
that.
yeah. I think you can just do a search right on the internet.
Google it. And
Yeah.
the internet will probably not too much misinformation on the internet about
Yeah.
who's in, who's out football wise.
Yeah. That would
Probably
be
still
good.
solid though.
Not very good.
No.
Okay. Let's see if I can get another win. We got 3 left. Eagles at the Jets. Jalen Hurts against Zach Wilson.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
I have Eagles by 5.5.
Yeah, I got the Eagles given 10.
Eagles by 10.
Yes.
It opened at 6. It went up to 7. So it is a touchdown.
Yeah. I'm surprised this isn't higher. I really am.
Got another one. Hooray! Okay. Yeah, Jets at home with that defense. I mean, I feel like we're a broken record, but that's what it is. Like they feel like they can shut a lot of teams down for a good part of the game, keep it close, and then if you can score a couple touchdowns, maybe you win a game. So I guess that's why it's lower.
People really like Zach Wilson now.
Do they really?
I mean, what I can't explain this line, like, because it's like you said, it started even lower than what it is now. So it started at 6. It has gone up a point. Like, but what about the Jets to this point in the season makes you think that they're competitive against a team like the Eagles, which is undefeated and went to the Super Bowl last year and lost, which is historically a marker for a terrible following season. And they've completely overcome that. This line really doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's kind of the other way for me just a little bit because it's higher than I thought it would be. But the case for the Jets would be they should be able to keep Hurts in the pocket a little bit. Like they have a good front. And they also, I don't think you'd say Hurts is like one of the best pocket passers in the league or like the most accurate or anything. He's
a quarterback,
upper echelon, but maybe they think they can keep him in the pocket and that defense can just kind of shut down the receivers.
Is Purdy a top 5 quarterback?
I mean, that was a conversation piece on something I was listening to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kurt Warner was talking about it.
Yeah,
it was like, well, there's a small sample size, but all you can do is like be the best you can be with your opportunities, and he's done that. Like he's won every game he started or something. Well, every game that he didn't get hurt in.
Right. And he hasn't thrown an interception this season, I think. He's like completely clean.
Yeah, I don't know. The only way we'll really know is to put a helmet on you or me and see if we can complete every pass of these guys.
I mean, that's certainly a very viable comparison.
Or, I mean, I think I could hand it off to McCaffrey without fumbling most of the time, too.
Yeah. Can an average person run the 49ers offense successfully? And if so, then Brock Purdy, complete.
But we clearly know that's not true. If you remember the playoff game last year when he went out and
he fell off a cliff, right?
Although that was against the Eagles, that's a little different.
It was, but still, out of all the quarterbacks they had though on that roster last year, because he got there only because he was their third string quarterback, got there only because the other 2 guys are injured. He was still the best quarterback on that roster. just like he did the most with that team. I don't know. It's probably too soon to have that conversation, but by the end of this year, I think we can for sure.
Yeah. All right, two left. Let's
Yes.
wrap it up here. We got Giants at the Bills, and I don't know if Daniel Jones got hurt. I think he's technically questionable. I really don't know if he's supposed to play or not.
Well, he certainly is a difference maker.
You
Maybe
think
in the other
Tyrod-
direction.
Man, he got paid all that money. Like,
They're the
kind of-
Giants, a dumb organization.
kind of bound to him, but I don't know.
And the
They
Bears
got
made the
other
mistake of
problems
covering.
too. Anyway, it's either Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor. I have the Bills at home going huge, 15.5.
I did half of that. I've got the Bills giving 7.5.
Pretty sure I'm closer.
Oh my God,
It
yeah.
opened at 15 and then it got bought down to 2 touchdowns. You'll see lines settle on these, like 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, a field goal, settle on those numbers a lot, obviously because games are usually decided by those numbers. So it opened at higher than 2 touchdowns, but it's down to 14. So I get that one.
Yeah. Makes total sense, this line.
Bills are off a dud coming home. The Giants are awful. It's a fair line.
Yeah.
I could see the Bills winning by 40. I also could see, so the Giants were like 12.5-point favorites last week underdogs at the Dolphins.
Mhm.
And they lost by 15 or 16. I don't know if they really had a chance to cover late or not, or how that game played out. I didn't follow it that closely, but I think a lot of people thought the Dolphins would beat them by 28, and it was 15-16. Like, they were close. So this one, you either think the Bills are going to rebound and win by a lot, or you think the Giants are still playing hard and can kind of keep it close. I don't really have a strong opinion about it, but that's kind of the two schools of thought, I would say.
The London game doesn't count. Like the Bills went to London and their opponent had been there for 2 weeks. It's like the travel matters, and I know that like we go like East Coast and it's like the same plane ride, but the time difference is more going to London, right? From New York, it's like what? It's like a 5.5-hour time difference, whereas it's only 2-hour time difference, 3-hour time difference, it's half as much. So I just throw that completely out the window. Whatever their performance was in London, I don't think counts. The last relevant sample was against the Dolphins. They stopped the Dolphins. Yeah, this line makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and when you're crossing time zones like that, it does. I mean, they have better ways of dealing with it. But I flew from LA to Chicago. I decided I was going to fly overnight, so it's like I don't know what it was, 5-hour flight, 4.5-hour flight, something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just fly overnight and then I'll try to work a little bit the next morning, and it screwed me up for like 2 or 3 days. So I mean, as much as you try to mitigate that, I think it has an effect. So I don't know if that was your school of thought. You were right, because the Jaguars took care of the Bills and they kind of led pretty much the whole game. Okay, we have 1 game left, and it's a pretty good game. And I think that last one was probably the Sunday night game. So Giants Bills was supposed to be a good game.
Maybe that'll get flexed out
when the season started.
Yeah.
And it isn't looking like a very good game. But the next one, Cowboys at the Chargers. Cowboys coming off that loss to the 49ers. Chargers coming off a bye week. Justin Herbert has the broken finger on his non-throwing hand, which isn't probably going to affect him. Maybe he'll get that splint stuck in there trying to hand it off, and it'll rip his splint off, and they'll fumble the ball, or maybe not. Anyway, I have the Cowboys by 2.5.
So this is a terrible mistake by me. I picked the Chargers. I had the Chargers giving 3.5. I have no idea why. I think this is just a typo. We'll go with it.
All right. So we're kind of opposite sides, basically a field goal.
I agree with you.
And I'm pretty sure it opened at Cowboys by 2, and it is 2.5.
Right on.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ooh, can't type, but okay. So I got that one. Obviously the Cowboys aren't as bad as they played against the 49ers. They're still, one of the best teams in the NFC, I would say. The Chargers, are, I don't know. I mean, they've played most teams pretty tough. It seems like whether they're playing a good team or a bad team, it's a close game, right?
Yeah.
Like they let the Raiders stay competitive with them with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. They almost beat the Dolphins. They went on the road and beat the Vikings by 4 or 7 or something like that. I think I'm forgetting one of their other games, but it just seems like to me Staley isn't a great coach, which is why maybe they struggle to put teams away. But like Herbert and Eckler and Keenan Allen can kind of make up for a lot of that, and like they'll just be competitive with everyone. So it's fair. It seems like the Cowboys have a big backing, and they're the more talented team maybe across the board. I guess that's why you favor the Cowboys a little bit. But I kind of went back and forth too. Like I could have seen the Chargers being favored by a couple points as well at home off a bye. I think it's a fair line, 3 one way to 3 the other way, or give or take, and that's where it's settled. So if you like your home underdog, then maybe the Chargers is the side here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it finishes up 8-5 with 2 ties. Josh wins the week. I should know this better. I think it's maybe, is it 4-2 on the weeks? I got 4, right. You got 2.
Yeah.
Trying to look at this. We weren't really super far off on a lot of these lines. It seems like you kind of know what you're getting out of some of these teams after 5 weeks. So, pretty, I guess a lot easier to guess these lines than it was week 1. I don't know much else to say. The next few weeks, you're going to find out who's making a run at the playoffs and who still sucks.
The Bears.
The Bears? Oh yeah, Bears Vikings. Someone has to win, or else it could be a tie. We should go to that game.
Should try to go.
No, we shouldn't. They suck. If they
were, it gotta be terrible. You're right.
We should good.
We should go near that game because downtown's cool.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. Watch it on the TV.
It's always better. Yeah. It'll be warmer too.
All right, that's all we got for you today.
See you week 7.
Yeah, we got week 7, and after that's week 8, and we're gonna go all the way through week 18. And if
18,
there's enough interest, maybe we'll do the playoffs too.
Oh, playoffs.
Playoffs. You talking about playoffs?
Playoffs.
All right. Week 6 is a wrap.
See ya.
Go Vikings!
Okay.